horseback rider. My grandfather told me, that one of our ancestors was a general in Genghis Khan's army, in command of 3,000 soldiers in the town of Huaicun in the Xixia mountains. I was daughter of the steppe, the Mubei grassland. As a child, I lived surrounded by the sounds of the Huaicun River and the Yellow River. My dream were of the snow toe in Xixia mountains and of the blue waves of Qinghai Lake. Qinghai Lake is very big in my hometown. My parents gave me wings to my imagination, and my grandma always told me to respect and cherish life. To me, in my life, love is art, art is life. And that's why I believe art can help people find their inner light again, especially in uncertain times. And I think every person carries a small light inside. Sometimes love makes that light a little dim. It can't connect the soul of everything, but it can gently remind us that light is still there. That's okay, Mike. That's also like a little bit question like this.
Thank you, Huaicun. That's beautiful. Art often reminds me of something that we always forgotten. Xuemo, can I turn to you, please? Mr. Xuemo will be having translator in the room, and his translator is next to him, Ms. Zhang. She will be translating Ms. Xuemo's conversation with us today. Xuemo, most philosophical traditions explores the deepest questions of life and death. Can literature and philosophy guide people when they confront the deepest questions of life and death?
Everyone. I come from northwest part of China, Gansu province.
我和怀聪老师是有靠得很近，他是青海，我是甘肃。
Same land.
My hometown and Huaicun's hometown are very close.
我的父母是中国西部的农民，不识字的。
My parents are farmers in northwest part of China, rural China. They're not educated.
我之所以成为作家，就是因为有两个，第一个就是爱，第二个就是想用爱来对峙这个死亡。
There are two reasons why I become a writer. The first one is love, because of love, and the second one is because of love. Literature can illuminate the world.
我很小的时候就发现，生命它每个人都一样，必然会从这个世界上消失的一天。
I discovered a fact from my childhood that life is passing.
所以一直在思考生命的意义，为什么活着？
I always think about the true meaning of life, why we live.
所以我的作品中一直在追问一种存在，追问一种活着的意义，探索人类如何对峙这种巨大的虚无。
That's why I always inquiring the meaning of life in my literature work. I want to find out what would be the true meaning that we can dissolve the meaningless of life.
所以我不停地写作，不停地写作。就今天早上晚上是2点钟凌晨2点起床写作。
So I always write. I always write from morning to evening. Today in 2 a.m. I wake up and I write.
因为我发现一切都在变化，这种变化一切都抓不住，只有抓住的永远是当下，当下的爱，以及这个爱对世界带来的一种有益的东西，带来一种光。
I realize that everything is changing all the time. We cannot hold on to anything because everything is illusory and always passing.
所以，在这个世界面临战争、灾难，面临一切的不确定的时候，唯有爱能够让我们感受到活着的意义和利益。
So nowadays we have war and all of the turmoil in the world. Only love that can conquers all.
这就是我写作的意义，
That is the meaning of my writing.
也是我走出来、走向世界的意义。
And that is also the meaning of why I travel around the world and spreading our culture.
曾经，美国有一个纽约图书大家，还有一个负责人学莫，你改变不了世界的黑夜，也改变不了战争，你为什么还要走出来？
The chairman of New York City Big Book Award, he asked me, you cannot change the darkness, you cannot eliminate the darkness in the world, then why you travel around and spreading the literature that you think that can illuminate the world?
我说改变不了黑夜，但可以在黑夜中扬起一堆篝火，亮起一盏灯。
I said that even I cannot eliminate the darkness in the world, but I can still set a bonfire out there and let the hope out there.
所以我走向世界，就是想找到一个需要那盏灯的读者。
So when I travel around the world, I always want to set the bonfire, the light, at every place during the journey that I go through, and let everyone have hope.
所以我不停地奔跑，不停地奔跑，
So I keep running and running.
跑向世界，读者也越来越多。
I run into the world, and there are many audience gathering together, join me.
所以我们不能改变世界，但可以改变我的读者。
Though I cannot change the world, but I can influence my audience, my readers.
我们消除不了战争，但是我们可以阻止战争。
Even I cannot eliminate the war,
阻止。
but I can curse the war.
谢谢学莫老师。Thank you. The wisdom is carried out in the culture itself. Haya, I'm very interested to hear from your perspective because you have interviewed with a lot of famous English authors and you've translated a lot of work as well. From your perspective, from the Chinese philosophy side, what wisdom might Chinese traditions offer the modern world about compassion and humanity?
Hi everybody, I'm Haya. I was expecting to speak second last.
No, because I thought that it might be perfect for you to jump in now, because
Yes.
what Xuemo has mentioned earlier.
I like what Xuemo just said about he's carrying this light, the writing is like he's searching for this reader, some reader who might need this light. I think that's so important to you. You can't change the world. You can't just despair because you need to somehow have some hope, if just for one person or maybe 10 people, maybe 100 people. And there is a Chinese saying called 星星之火可以燎原. So a sparkle of light can burn a whole mountain. Of course, we don't want to burn the mountain, we bring lots of light to people. I think that's very important. So that's why I'm really, really happy to hear what you said that. So because I'm speaking now, so I just want to say that these two writers, they're from northwest part of China. There is a mountain range called the Xixia mountain. There's lots and lots of great writers who produce there. So it is on the Silk Road, linked between China and the Middle East. And it's a road which a lot of Marco Polo went along that road. It's lots of culture. And also I think it's really interesting. I know that today we're talking about love and charity and stuff. I just want to say there's two writers. They live two sides of the mountain, am I correct? One in the north side, one in the south side. I think their writings are different because of where they grew up. I haven't read many of Xuemo Culture's writing, but just from, I read a little bit over the weekend. Just from hearing what he's saying, I think his writing is more kind of north part of the mountain, which is the Gobi Desert, which is the vast kind of, how do you say, full of power, full of endurance. Am I right? And Xuemo's writing is very beautiful, very sunny, like beautiful spring day, like gentle breeze in the trees, and full of sunny love, and they're completely different. I think they're like two extreme of really, really wonderful writings, but they're very, very different writings. I just want everybody can realize that. I mean, unless anybody read their writings, I think this is it's so interesting to see both of them sitting here alongside each other. There's a mountain range between them, and then their writings are both so wonderful yet so different. Yes.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you for sharing that. I think culture reminds us that light of humanity will always travel through stories and from wisdom. And I would like us to explore this idea a little bit further. If culture carries wisdom from the past, then the future of compassion lies within the young people, the younger generation. But yet the younger people today grew up in a world filled with complexity and uncertainty. I would like us to all think about this topic. But before that, we would welcome John's sister from Regain's charity today to join us. Sorry, Sarah. So Sarah and John are both supported and invited by the Regain charity, who is a leading charity in the UK supporting people who has paralyzed problem later on, and how to help them to go through the difficult time when they had accidents and experience the difficulties, and help them to go through. John unfortunately cannot make it by himself. He is in the other room in the club if anyone's interested to have a conversation with him later on, where you're very welcome. So he's treated with some tea and coffee at home. So Sarah, we're now talking about if culture carries wisdom from the past. We want to discover how to bring the future compassion to the younger generation, to the young people, because the world now we live in is filled with uncertainty and complexity. And Christ, I would like to ask you first, what do you believe that young people need the most today in order to remain the compassion and courageous to live?
That's a very good question. I think this what young people need most today is love, understanding, and a sense of this connection. We live in a very fast and sometimes uncertain world. Everybody knows that world very big changes. So people's changes, everything's changes. So, and young people face many crises if they feel supported by family, community and culture, it becomes easy for them to say kind and open-hearted. And for me, I think so. Literature and art very important, like stories, poems, and paintings. Help young people see the world through these other people's eyes. They learn and pass the imagination and courage. I always believe that compassion and courage grow from the same place, same face, a warm and bright from this heart. That's what I think young people need to this way.
Thank you so much. That's very powerful reflection. What you describe speaks not only about education, but also about emotional and imaginative world about young people. Xuemo, how can younger generation preserve kindness and inner strength in the rapidly changing world? What's your thoughts on this?
Thank you so much for the answer. Wonderful answer.
我小时候和现在的年轻人也刚处到一个不确定的时代，但我总是想，相对于生命的消失，总要做一点什么东西，这就是我后来做事的目的。
So I always think that comparing to the passing of life, we gotta do something, and that's the main motivation of what I'm doing now.
要知道，每个人都是一台电脑，
Every person is like a computer.
装什么样的程序，它就能起到什么样的作用。
What kind of program that you install into your computer determines what kind of app that operates in your life.
好的文化就会产生一批非常优秀的年轻人。
The better generation will grow up in a background of the better culture.
坏的文化会腐蚀一代一代。
Well, let's say the bad culture will erupt the younger generation.
现在的网络时代正好是全球的欲望性的文化，有很大的收益。
The age now is dominated by the culture of desire.
所以，其实这个时代越加需要怀存老师这样的写作和我这样的写作，因为我们每一部书都是一张天幕。
So actually, we truly need the writing of Huaicun, because our books, every single book of art, is like a lamp, is like a light that can illuminate the world.
年轻人的心像一块土地，可以种庄稼，也会长出野草。
The heart of the younger people is like a field. You can grow any plant. You can grow beautiful flowers on it, and you can also plant like weeds.
好的文化就是庄稼。
So the good culture is like the flowers.
当他们心中长满了庄稼的时候，野草就越来越少。
When your heart, the field of your heart is filled with beautiful flowers, there is no room for weeds.
所以，好的文学、好的艺术，以及在座的很多朋友的慈善，都是这个时代最好的庄稼。长到这个时代的心灵的时候，这个世界就会越来越好。
So the literature, the art, and also the charity that everyone I share here is the most beautiful flowers in this modern life, this age.
但是因为人是欲望一种，所以一定要有符合这个时代用语和传播模式，才会更有意义。
So because of we human is the animal of desire. So actually we need a new model for how we operate and transmit the culture for this very age.
我从中国西部走到英国，走向世界的时候，其实就是寻找一个更有理念、传播方式和更有理念的朋友，我们一起来做这个事情。
Just like I am traveling from the west part of China to London. When I travel around the world, this journey is a more powerful way of cultural transmission.
我希望每个人分数老师相互是和各位朋友一起做这个事。谢谢。
So I'm looking forward to work with my students and everyone here for this meaningful, valuable work.
Thank you. You speak about inner strength. I think it's very, like you said, that good culture brings good things out of people, and bad culture brings the worst out of the world. And that raises very important questions of how value are shaped through experiences. And here I would like to invite Nick. From your perspective of art, how can art inspire young people to develop deeper sense of responsibility towards the society?
Listening to what's been said so far, what I meant to say was not change. It's information. I think I'll just start off by saying that I'm not a Londoner, I'm not even English, I'm Welsh. So I grew up in a tiny little village in Wales. It was a mining village, and curiously enough, 95% of the people that lived in that village were Irish. Even though it's Welsh, they all came over from Ireland to work in the pits and to work in the steel mills. Okay, so I knew the Irish, and that village was quite poor, but they all stuck together like glue, and they said that they actually supported one another. So that's one thing. The other thing, my dad, he left school when he was 14, wanted to work in a pit. Luckily, he could read, okay, and his love of reading, he passed on to me. So that was a very important part. The actual being able to read, because there was nothing else around there, it was pretty big, was more important than anything that I can say, because it made you go to different lands, different places, and it was a real education, as you'd expect within itself. Now, his favourite philosopher was Xuemo, and his favourite line was, "There are two types of people in this world, don't trust either of them." But I think he was wrong. There's a third type of people, and there they are, those, like Mrs. Zhang, who were generous, kind, and thoughtful. He never told me what the other two were, by the way. So that there are, and I must say, as far as art is concerned, that was my way up back in Huaicun. I could paint, I could also write, but being dyslexic, I could never spell, and I still can't. It took me till I was 15 to be able to spell my own name. That's a joke. Just in case. The thing about this building is that we have a show called The Rising Stars, which I sort of instigated about 15 years ago, with the Royal Society of British Artists, and that was specifically for young artists. And by young, I mean under 35. And we had a bequest we used to send a young artist to Rome for a month, and we paid all the excess, and then the one gave us a sign, and put up some more money for prizes, and it grew. The exhibition is held here, and this is one of my favorite places in London, I can tell you. It's a lovely spot. They also do a lot of music and events like this. And I think one of the things that I'm most proud of in my time as president is that we have, that society has done so much for young artists, but we can continue and do more. And I think if I was 40 years younger, we could have done a lot more. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you. I think what you said about rising the star exhibition and how art in the younger generation really shapes something, some values that are invisible in real life. And
Can I just say that it's important that younger artists get shown, but it's also important that they have the opportunity to sell them, because it means so much. The bottom line, they can carry on painting. When I was going through a workshop in the 80s, we were probably really born. The thing is that you had to have another job in order to make a living. So being given prizes, being given all that boost is so important. And that's
absolutely. If anyone's interested, the next show is going to be in May and still will be hosted at the Royal Overseas League here. And there will be all sorts of different artwork from oil paintings, sketchings, sculptures. There's young artists with sculptures and works with candies, sugars, right? That was amazing. And yeah, sidetracked. But beyond inspiration and art, there's also actions, how we bring actions into the real world. Basically, I would like to have your thoughts on this. How can community initiatives inspire young people to transform compassion into real actions for the society?
Okay. I think it is a very complex world for everyone at the moment. And in particular, young people who haven't got the wisdom and the experience. So I think leadership is very important to get young people involved. And also publicizing all the good things that are happening. We have a lot of bad news, but it's important to also have the good news. I think there was a news reader that had that philosophy, but we haven't heard from him for a long time. I don't know whether he's still around. But we do need good news. And for young people, we have to understand the way that they communicate and engage with others. And we have to use that medium to get through to them. So I think particularly in London, there are so many different races, people from different backgrounds, with different cultures. And we have to have a good understanding about the culture. But it's not something that you say, well, young people, teenager, we start doing something with them now. It is the responsibility of every single one of us to do something about it, to get the message across, to get young people involved, and also to congratulate them if they are kind, if it's sort of getting them to respect others. There's a lot of killing and stabbing of young people because they've sort of just forgotten how precious life is. Also, life is a journey. And the Queen made this very clear in one of the Commonwealth speeches years ago in Australia. We are all transient beings. We are only here for our journey through life, and we don't know what is going to happen. So our life starts not when we're 10 years old, but when we, from the baby stage, right through. And therefore, at the baby stage, the mother, the parents, the family have a responsibility to teach young people to be kind, to be helpful, to be good. And then that goes passed on to the teachers. But what has happened in this country is that the parents are not doing it to a certain generation. The teachers are not doing it. And therefore you have a society of crime, people not knowing what is good and bad. There is sort of the church, but it's only some of the communities who have been successful in getting young people to go to church. On the whole, that's not really successful. I think that religion can play a key part, but everybody's got to work together, and the government has also got to play their part and make sure that the right policies to help young people and to help us all to help young people.
Thank you. I think what we see here is a journey from imagination, inner strengths, expressions of art, and how we turn things into action, and how we translate it into real world. But yet sometimes when life in our life also brings moments where compassions become deeply personal, especially when we face illness and vulnerability. So our next theme will touch something very personal. And we will begin with our guests working in the healthcare area, Stephanie and Alex. From your experience at the Royal Marsden, you meet not only the patient, you also work with supporters, you work with the patient's family. How do you see the emotional resilience shaping the journey of those facing serious illness?
Thank you, and thank you everyone for your thoughtful contributions so far. So I've been lucky enough to work at the Royal Marsden Cancer Charity for 6 years now, and throughout that time, I think my understanding of resilience and really what it is has developed by working very closely with wonderful people like Huaicun and Shen, but also working closely with our patients at the hospital and seeing what they've gone through and how they get through the other side. I've got a few examples of patients we've worked with closely. One of them, Natalie, was diagnosed with breast cancer, and after a few years of treatment was told that it had metastasized, and she is facing a terminal diagnosis. But instead of going into herself, she trained as a cancer exercise specialist, and she set up a new business to help other people that were going through a similar diagnosis. She's also been a fantastic supporter of the charity and ran the London Marathon in 2021, raising over £7,000. To see someone going through such a difficult time and to be able to get something positive out of it is completely transformational. Another lady, Hasna, she was diagnosed with breast cancer again in 2006. It came back many years later, and at the time she was pregnant with her daughter. She had her daughter, and she was told that she may only have a year left to live. But what she said to herself was, not now. I want to see my 4-year-old daughter at her unicorn birthday party. And she did, and she's going strong even today, and she's still helping the charity with all our campaigns and raising awareness of her disease as well. Truly inspirational. And thirdly, a patient that you may all well be aware of, and that's our patron, Her Royal Highness, the Princess of Wales, who was treated at the Royal Marsden and had to go through a cancer diagnosis really on a world stage. She's transformed that into good by becoming our joint patron alongside her husband, the Prince of Wales, and she continues to support the charity every day. Most recently, she joined us at our Ever After Garden event in Duke of York Square in December to thank our volunteers and our staff working on the project. So these 3 examples have really helped my understanding of what resilience is. And I think they're true inspirations that they can continue to support us when they're facing such adversity.
Thank you, Stephanie. That was very beautiful. Alex, would you like to add anything?
I think Steph did a great job of giving those examples. So thank you, Steph, for sharing them. I've only been at the organisation now for 4 months, but I think you can really, one of the reasons why I absolutely have loved working there for the past 4 months is, as you say, that our patients and supporters are just so amazing. And these can be people who do a local bake sale, giving us, millions of pounds and more. I was recently at the Hampton Court Palace half marathon on Sunday, and Steph was there as well. And this is one of the favourite parts of our roles. We had over 200 runners running for the Royal Marsden fundraising, many of which are cancer survivors, and just the resilience of training for something like that after going through such hardship is really amazing. So yeah, we are so thankful for all our supporters.
Such a beautiful thing that everyone comes together. I think that the London Marathon for charity is one of the most important things for the UK charity work.
I'll have to be in touch on this year. Send me the application form.
Yes, please. We start training now. Sarah, I'm really interested to hear from your story of how you think going through you and John. Or if you want to call John.
I've got some notes. So, hi everyone. We've driven from North London to here, and it's a little bit of a journey, and we can get access into the building. So, my brother's in another room. He's a wheelchair user. We just wanted to represent the game and all the hard work that they produce for tetraplegic people. I've got a little run me through a few key points just to raise. So there's a learn and earn programme. We train tetraplegics to use their lived experience and employment skills. We support 150 tetraplegics a year. We provide £80,000 in grants a year, and that's offering to 50 to 70 individuals. It's giving back to people that really need support, and it's such a caring and nurturing place to have people supporting you through possibly the most challenging time of your life, and having a chance to live and breathe life again, just have a new chance. Yeah. So
it is very difficult, especially it's later on in life. experience starting to get used to the new lifestyle and being able to support every people have the same problem.
I think it's best that if you have someone that's lived and they've had that path themselves, something better than getting experience with someone that knows how it feels.
Absolutely. And when you grow up, also have a lot of similar set up by the patient themselves and by the charity and the hospital. It's such a loving world that when people are out there helping each other to go through the difficult time. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think that becomes especially important when it comes to children. So Natasha, through your work at the art therapy program, how do you think creative expression help children to process fear, difficult emotion, and anxiety through the art practice?
Hi everyone, firstly thank you so much. It's really an honour to be here. Hearing everyone is so really inspiring and really aligns with what we do at the charity. And I think someone mentioned before about starting with children at a young age. One thing we do is really preventative therapy. And so we try and get in there from a really young age, even age 4 to 5, to give children a safe space and to give children the boundaries they need within the school environment where they feel safe, to give them the tools in life to become kind and respectful if they're not getting it from their parents, as you were saying all the time, or the teachers. And we work with the school, we work inside the school with the teachers and with the parents as a triangular relationship to ensure that the child has the best possibility whatever they're going through. And we see children with all types of trauma, anxiety, bereavement, behavioural, and we hope that someday they will be those artists that you said earlier, but through creativity, love, compassion, connection, we believe that children can rebuild resilience and I guess rediscover hope and begin to heal. And that's, I'm an art therapist myself, so I've gone through the journey of, having art therapy and then becoming an art therapist, and my wish really is to always give these children the benefit to become who they want to be, and get them through education.
Thank you. That's very art therapy is getting more and more popular throughout the practice, and it's more important for people to know how it works and how it can help a lot of people to express, because you think it's a very simple thing to do, but a lot of children and people that don't actually know how to express themselves through art, so it does require a lot of training. I'm sure later on we can hear more from Alex and Georgia in the corner. But before that, I want to ask Huaicun, because what everyone talked about here just now aligns with your work as an artist. Do you believe beauty and creativity can offer emotional strength for people who face sufferings like illness and different time of the life?
Yes, Stephen is still making me really cry. So that's today I'm so excited because people support for culture, charity, and love, and especially for responsibility. That's really important for everybody, like you may say. That's still beginning, everything's responsibility beginning to everyone. I think, I believe so for this beauty and creativity can make people stronger, especially in difficult times. Like Stephen is saying, actually, many patients, if you have some of this beauty work, creativity, some of this stuff. For example, every year we do this for disabled students, close this artworks exhibition at the Mansion House. Actually, because that children, that kids can't speak. Some kids only his eyes move. Hand, maybe leg and body can't working. We help to these young people and children, kids especially 5 years old to 25 years old. We are helped to this because his drawing is beautiful, this painting is. We are putting this exhibition go to Mansion House, like 40, maybe 20, and we are invited for like business peoples, charity peoples who love this world, who love these children and making this event. But that event is very successful. We have been sold auction from these kids, paintings, everyone. For example, last year we have been sold like 104,000 actually from these people, children's paintings. I think so. Mrs. Li had one there last year. So that's why I really believe that creativity and beauty very helpful for people, especially for someone having a very difficult time.
Thank you. I always remember that when I spoke to Trillaws about the exhibition, they said about something, they told me that the children's and the students at the campus, the only thing that they have left is the imagination, and they have more than anyone else to have the time to be creative. So I think even though art can remove pain from your body, but it can definitely transform how we feel and how we experience how our feeling to the rest of the world. So, Xuemo, I would like to hear your thoughts on this. When people face illness or even possibility of coming to see the end of their life, where can they find the light within? I'm sure that you discussed a lot of that in your book.
Thank you so much for your questions.
我的几乎所有读者都从我的文学作品和文化作品中找到了属于他自己的光，然后改变了他的命运。
Almost all my readers have found inner light through reading my work.
这里面有几种途径。
There are several methods.
第一是用智慧。
The first approach is the wisdom in my works.
中国智慧和东方智慧，其中有一种训练可以让人超越肉体和心灵的一些痛苦。
Well, I would say the Chinese traditional culture, or let's say Eastern cultures, there is a certain kind of training that can actually transcend the suffering.
在我给大家今天送的这个礼物中有一本埃布洛写专门讲这个故事。
Well, you can find out everyone in your gift package. There's a book. There's my book called Internal Love.
其实面对痛苦的时候，更多的时候面对疾病和痛苦的时候，更多的不是疾病本身，带来最大痛苦的是恐惧。
The most scary thing about illness or death is not the illness or death itself, but but the scary itself, but your own fear. Your fear is the most scary thing.
就是恐惧带来的痛苦，远远超过疾病带来的。
The suffering that causes from your fear is much more scary than the illness itself.
而恐惧只是一种情绪。
Fear is kind of emotion.
通过一种训练是可以摆脱这种恐惧。
Through a certain kind of training, you can actually get rid of that kind of fear.
中国的佛教和道教有很多这样训，未来有兴趣的朋友，我可以带着大家做这样一个训。
Well, in traditional Buddhism and Taoism, there are lots of approaches that can actually achieve that. So I can share many things on this if you are interested.
有一个女子，埃博罗夏这个小说中有一个女子，在得知自己得了舌癌之后，第一时间给我打电话。
The main character in the novel Eternal Love, the girl, the real girl. That story is based on a real story in my life. The girl who has discovered she has tongue cancer. The minute he discovered that, he called me immediately.
我在电话中就教他一种方法，他很快就摆脱了恐惧。
I teach her a certain kind of approach or method via the phone, and she get rid of the fear immediately.
这是中国古代传承下来的很多智慧。
It comes from the ancient lineage in Eastern culture.
非常有用。
I would say it is very useful.
我帮助一些科学家得了癌症的科学家，也帮助他摆脱了痛苦。
I've also helped several scientists who has diagnosed with cancer.
还有一种方法就是用艺术的形式，爱的力量来进行灵魂的服务。
There are another is the belief that art and literature can bring.
整个爱博罗夏这个小说，就是整个这个用爱去赋予、觉证别人的一个非常重要的标准。
I would say the story in the novel Eternal Love is a very good sample for the cancer patient that can, let's say, saved by the inner light or love.
在中国有非常多的癌症病人得了爱博罗夏之后，就讲起了痛苦。
There are lots of patients, cancer patients in China, who have read Eternal Love. They all relieved their inner suffering.
未来如果有需要，我们可以向皇家癌症医院捐助一些书。
So in future, if possible, we would like to donate more of our novels to the Royal Marsden Hospital.
很多人读了这本书之后，他会心灯一下的亮。
Many patients who read the novel, the inner light immediately illuminated.
所以爱和智慧是可以帮助患者度过最艰难的时光。
So the love and wisdom can authentically accompany the cancer patient to get through the most difficult times, most difficult periods in their lives. Even including the fear for death.
这在东方社会中是很常见的。
This kind of transcendental salvation is quite common in Eastern culture.
如果有需要，未来可以在现场的朋友合作，把这种经验传递给大家。
So if it's possible, I really love to work with everyone here to for this very useful method.
谢谢。
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So we have here this perspective from Stephanie, from Alex, from Natasha, and Xuemo and Huaicun about different moments when we face vulnerability, and it's very uplifting to know that we're still there searching for meaning, strength, and light within the difficulty time. And sometimes compassion is not really something that we reflect on, we also turn it to action. And before we continue, we would like to take a moment to translate the compassion into something really tangible. Now, hear a little short reflection from Stephanie, and followed by that, we will present a charity donation for £4,000 in order to support cancer research and patient care in the new hospital at the Chelsea branch. But not new, but it was an upgrade. Yeah, thank you, Stephanie. Sorry, thank you. Thank you so much. Hello again, everyone. I wanted to say, just on behalf of the Royal Marsden Cancer Charity, thank you to Freya Foundation, Pension Tree, CIO, Huaicun and Zhang for so kindly organising this very thoughtful discussion today, and for providing us with these delicious refreshments. Gatherings like this round table highlight the power of community and shared purpose. When people come together with compassion and commitment, remarkable things happen. Your support of our new Chelsea development will make a meaningful difference to the lives of cancer patients around the world. The themes we are exploring together, emotional resilience, compassion, psychological care, and hope in the face of serious illness, reflect exactly what this development aims to strengthen. We spoke about how resilience is built in moments of deep uncertainty, and your contribution will help create calm, supportive spaces that allow patients and families to find strength when it matters most. We also discussed the vital role of compassion in healthcare. Your gift will help to ensure that our teams can deliver not only world-leading treatment, but also the emotional care and human connection that define the Royal Marsden. Above all, we have reflected on the power of hope. Hope is a lifeline for patients facing life-threatening challenges, and this project will help us foster that hope by accelerating research breakthroughs and improving experiences for our patients and their families during the most challenging moments of their lives. Today's reflections remind us how charitable giving can translate directly into better experiences and outcomes for people's lives. This donation will do exactly that. On behalf of our staff, our patients and their families, thank you. Your generosity and partnership are truly appreciated. Thank you so much.
One more.
Thank you, Xuemo. Thank you, Stephanie, for sharing that. I think illness reminds us how fragile life is, but there's also something else that we are touching on the table today. that is war confront humanity with even darker questions. So our next discussion touches on this darkest reality of human history. Let me begin with those who worked closely with the reality. Imogen and Lisa, in your work on the ground, what moment have shown you the resilience of human kindness during the time of crisis?
Can you hear me? Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. So I've done 3 trips to Ukraine now. Imogen, who will be back in a moment, is on her 24th visit to Ukraine. So mine's kind of a bit of a fresher feeling, really, I suppose. But in terms of the resilience, we're there, we two members of Parliament to Ukraine, and we spend maybe 3 or 4 nights in a bunker with very little sleep, and often go the next day. Sometimes we're able to sleep on a coach depending on where we're going. The reality of that is that the people of Ukraine have done it every night, almost for 4 years. So while we go in there and we have no sleep for at the most a week, they're doing it night after night after night. So I think for me that's the thing that I took away the most was how are they functioning. This winter has been their coldest. There's been an awful lot of deaths, just people freezing to death basically. They've had no electricity, no heating, and yet we've had people when they're in candlelight, they've got jumpers, they've got hats, they've got coats. They're carrying on as best they can. Everybody's got power packs everywhere for phones. You don't go anywhere without 3 power packs, things like that. So I think just the way they've adapted, this is their normal life now, is the resilience, but also for me the sadness of it. It's become normal. I'll pass to Imogen because she's obviously done 20 or more trips than me, and obviously our director of UK Friends in Ukraine. I'm sorry to miss the first bit of that session. Timed that well. I guess to carry on from what Lisa said, it's very hard in our line of work. We are dealing with the lack of humanity during war, and we see some awful things. It focuses on death and injuries, missiles and drones, and it's really hard with what we're doing in the stories we hear to be able to sort of think positively about it. But I think what I've certainly gotten out of today, and hearing some of the stories from various different people around the table, is how much love there is in Ukraine, is how much resilience there is, and how much passion there is for life. We see returned prisoners of war that have held on because of the love of their family and their wives and children waiting for them every day, and you see them being reunited. There is so much love and beauty out of that. And just to go, from a cultural aspect, the Ukrainians are fighting to keep their culture alive. So a lot of what you've touched on in terms of writing, poetry, artwork, song and dance, that is very much what the Ukrainians are trying to hold on throughout their fight. You might have seen in some of the blackouts, Ukrainians take to the street and have dance parties because they're determined that their humanity and culture will prevail. So there is love, and I thank you all for sharing today because it makes me think of that aspect rather than a lot of the negatives that we're faced with in our work.
Thank you, Lisa. That's very special sharing that. I think human history is filled with a lot of moments of darkness, but people are still fighting so hard to preserve their own culture and their own we can witness a lot of extraordinary courage. Oksana, you have worked with a lot of children found in Ukraine and also air rescue during the time. What challenges does children face during war, and how can compassion from the society protect them?
The challenges is to give them a safe future, a hope for normality, a hope for building up their resilience.
And mostly, I'm now involved with the Royal National Institute of the Blind, which they have now a centralized library with in Ukraine to have the best controlled Ukrainian language app for the children, disciples, for the adults, disciples, who have now disciples to their atrocities of the war, to be able to access the art of the books, the ones that you have in Huaicun and Xuemo, the ones that help you balance, to finding the inner balance, finding the outer balance, finding the whole, because the facing cycles, partial or full, you have limited access to things, and cooking books that there are maybe apps or maybe apps that you can access in your native language, and you can listen and read and sort of find the kindness, the humanity, the knowledge, the art to grow and further. Plus, I was also involved in social change campaigns that they help those children that they need the most thinking class in terms of this. Because social change campaigns are so important now, and they are the most challenging ones. And the current programs that we organize for children is something that is fully positive, no negative, but topics only positive, only things like art therapy, only something that is full of light and kindness and hope to help them regain and heal. And that's how I also started doing the safe medical tourism, to have the access for complimentary top doctors presentations and webinars to help teach the children to have a healthy lifestyle, a healthy food, which leads to healthy and balanced mental state, because we forget how much the gut is connected with the brains and with the mental and nervous system, to also normalize and balance the way they eat, to teach them healthy habits, and show them how much love and care there is all over the world, and kind people around as well, to focus only on the kind side, because no matter what, kindness and light will prevent any darkness. I myself escaped atrocities in Bucha. Bucha was taken by Russia, and it was a big massacre, I'm sure you know that. So it gave me a lot to appreciate life, and be pounded with the second dynasty. There's nothing in is granted. Just being tolerant, being thoughtful towards each other. It seems that even these social change campaigns are so important, taking into account the use of light and hope by Huaicun and Xuemo and other artists who promote these important sensations, not the desires, but kindness, empathy, tolerance, and building a better future for everyone, inclusive one. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Also know that he's been active. I think that leads us to another dimension of this topic. It's how what I explored in writings, in literature. Please, I'm interested in how it's your perspective. When you write about war, what questions and what topics do you explore when you're writing, and what human nature do you try to put into your stories when you write the novels?
In my what is dualism as a time doctrine that corrupts everything. It deals with the way people see the world in terms of it's black and white, good and evil, which is contrary to the true religious concept of existence, which is that everything is connected, everything is one. The notion the evil world as good and evil is really a denial of so forth. And this is fall of man is basically a change in perspective of how people see things, the way people see everything in terms of good versus evil. And usually people see themselves as good and the opposition as evil. And this is the same on both sides. So as you can see with this new war with Iran, the West is presenting themselves, well, the US, people today are now finally sick of this narrative war. And they want enough of it. They don't want this war anymore. But with the invasion of Iraq, the narrative was very much, even though it's an illegal invasion, the narrative people were very much enjoying the sight of a country being destroyed, and bombed, and bridges destroyed, and palaces being destroyed, and the infrastructure being destroyed. And people didn't care. Didn't care that people were dying, that over 1 million people died in illegal war. And there was no remorse, nobody was held to account. And now history is repeating itself. But finally, people are sick of this. And it's probably a good thing that it's affecting people personally, because the invasion of Iraq didn't affect people personally. It didn't affect the economy or anything like that. But it's probably a good thing that this war is finally affecting people, and people are waking up to this narrative. And people are having enough of it. And this is what basically I write about here, with the decline, the degeneration of religions. Talk about each religion, the Abrahamic religions, how they degenerate into this doctrine where everything is seen in terms of good versus evil. They lose the concept of forgiveness, and which is a fundamental principle of forgiving. Doesn't matter what crime people have committed, there is the capacity for forgiveness. And this is lost. The way everything is just. And also, I deal with feminism, the way it's degenerated into a gender war, which is just ridiculous. And just the way that culture today, just everything is about identity and dehumanize others. But hopefully people will gain insight. With my writing, I try to I write complete ebooks, which are downloaded for free, which is most of my books are downloaded for free, and mostly for young people, which is a good thing. Because young people like anything, don't want to pay for anything. Who does that? So, and also ebooks are very much of the latest kind of technology that people are into. It's difficult for me to get people to read, because now people want to see things on TikTok and YouTube. They don't want to read a book.
It's true. I think what Imogen and Lisa said earlier, that people are fighting to protect their culture. Culture includes their writing, their literature, and like they say that people don't really care about lots of things nowadays. It's if you watch the war goes on TV, you don't really have any reactions to it anymore, because there's so much things going on, and you hear a lot of narrative from the West world about the Just War. I don't want to go into too political, but what I think this discussion brings us together is that literature can really bring the emotional and moral landscape of war to allow teenagers or people in all different age to go into a war and not just what happened, but it means what humans go through with it. And I think that would be a wonderful moment for our guests to have a dialogue between them. Xuemo, why do you think kindness can survive even in the darkest moment of history?
在历史上最黑暗的这样的一个时期，您认为文学是否就是能让人的善良能够延续下去？
战争和黑暗其实需要一种允许。
Wars and the darkness come from ignorance.
愚昧的，人愚昧的时候就会被欲望控制。
When we become ignorant, we will be manipulated or controlled by our own desire.
这时候就会产生一种断裂，身心断裂，我与别人断裂，我与社会断裂，民族之间的断裂。
There, in that case, there will be a disconnection between different nations, different countries, different cultures.
文学可以民族之主断裂。
And literature provides a wonderful bridge for that disconnection.
比如，我如果是一个国家，我会去侵略俄罗斯，因为俄罗斯是托尔斯泰的国家。
For instance, for example, if I were the president of a country, I would never invade another country. I would never invade like Russia or Ukraine because that is the hometown of one of my favorite writer, Joyce Wright.
同样，我也不会去英国，因为我爱莎士比亚。
And likewise, I would never invade England because that is the hometown of Shakespeare.
文学可以让人类养成一个正气。
So literature actually it plays a role as a bridge that can connect everyone together.
它是一种情感的元素。
So we can link to each other, we can connect with each other emotionally.
那些发动战争的人，肯定不是文学青年。
The ones who invoke the wars, they are definitely not the lovers of literature.
比如，我有一个作家，会为不看儿童的命运感到疼痛。
I always feel sorry and I have deep pain about people in Ukraine.
因为文学可以训练人的爱。
Because literature can actually develop the deep love for human.
艺术也可以训练出这种爱。
And so does art.
爱是一种能力，
Love is an ability.
必须训练。
It has to go through, it should be developed through a kind of training.
很多人失去了爱的能力，
Many people, they have lost their ability of love.
所以发动战争。
So they invoke wars.
通过文学艺术，可以让人们产生一种共情，从而锻炼这种爱的能力。
Through love, through art and literature, we can resonate with the world.
所以以后未来，当我们文学艺术成为地球上的人类最热爱的生活方式的时候，战争必然会慢慢消除。这样的是。
So in the future, if literature becomes the lifestyle, reading becomes a lifestyle of everyone, wars will probably disappear.
像伊丽莎白女王在看这个莎士比亚戏剧的时候，她是不会想到发动战争。
Just like the Queen Elizabeth, when she is enjoying the drama of Shakespeare, she would never think of invoking a war. Thank you so much.
I am walking over, you have managed to put me in the moment that I'm munching. Thank you, Xuemo. I wonder if that idea can develop further with how we can preserve hope and humanity during the time of the war. Xuemo, what do you think?
I think Mr. Xue was said everything's like feeling like me, but I believe that in this world, love can conquer many things. If you have a love, I think love in one way, you have everything. Looks like it's simple words, but to everybody, love is very important. And we only need to open our eyes and look carefully at the world around us. And you see our open, our brush, or our music to record the beautiful moments of life. That's why I think everything's from like my writing, my painting, emotion, love also from my family. Because especially like before Hale said, Mr. Xuemo and me grew up same as northern China, North China in the north place in China. We have a huge grassland, but we have a different maybe situation. But to me, I think I'm so lucky because I grew up so warm family. That's why I think so my grandma, my grandpa, and my father passed many different love for me. And for future, I can send it to my love for my Shan, and Shan can send it to his love for my granddaughter Freya. That's why to me, to my family, I think so love is very important because love making different people, love making different world, I think.
Thank you. It is in this moment that humanity reveals its deepest strengths. I think it is especially what Imogen and Lisa is doing, and Oksana. Everyone touches on the topic. Means that the lights are still visible in the dark time. Especially with arts and literature, it really helps people to find their lights within the darkest time of the moment. But everyone grow up in a different stage, and we all need help in different stages, not just the children that needs help. We all growing up in a different time of our life. So we now spoke about culture, we have talked about society, illness, and about war. And ultimately, all these experiences return to something personal again, is how we grow, how we endure, and how we continue. Even in a difficult time, human beings continue searching for the meaning, hope, and connection. And that brings to our next theme of personal transformation. Xuemo, I would like to ask you, what role does love play in personal transformation?
雪毛老师想问的一个问题是，在个人的转变当中，个人的转化当中，爱扮演了一个什么样的角色？
在个人转化中，爱是一种能量。第一个
Love plays a role as an energy in the personal transformation.
第一种是积极生命能量，它让我们处理任何事。
The first kind of energy is your own physical energy. It makes us as a human, as a physical human.
第二种是，它是一种可以传递的能量，把自己的爱传递给世界。
The second kind of energy is the energy that you can pass on to other people.
那么这种传递的能量，其实在这个时代需要一种设计，就是爱的这个能量容易涣散，就没有力量。
Well, the ability or the energy of love should be concentrated or should be trained because we're so easy to be distracted by other things. Our energy is very easily to be distracted or swayed by different things.
早期的基督教传递爱的时候是很容易的，因为那时候没有太多的讯息。
So in the earlier years of the transmission of Christian, the passing on of life is quite easy because there is not so much information in those days.
在这个时代不行，这个时代信息太多了，欲望的力量远远大过爱的力量。
But that's not the case nowadays because there are so many distractions nowadays. The power of desire is it exceeds so a lot than the power of love.
这个时代的传播一定要有组织和社区。
So the cultural transmission or the passing on of life has to be designed or operated through different community.
我发现，如果没有一种社群性的爱的传播，爱的力量是非常有效的。
Without the power of community, the coverage of our transmission is very limited.
所以说这也就是我为什么走向世界，就是寻求更大的一种组织、社区和一种势。
So that's the reason why I travel around the world, and because I would like to meet different people and engage with different societies.
没有组织和社区的保证，所有的爱没有力量。
Without the protection of the society, all our life probably is powerless.
就是它是一哄而起，一哄而散。
Because it's very easily to be like invoked, but also very easily to fade away.
所以爱必须有爱的组织来保证爱的力量。
So an organization or the community is very important.
而且这个组织必须借助当代的先进的科技、网络，包括人工智能等，让它变得更有力量。
And also we must apply the most advanced technology nowadays, including the technology of artificial intelligence.
所以这个时代需要强调爱的合理，汇成大海。
So we need it just like different rivers merging together into the ocean.
所以我们希望未来，像Xuemo老师这样的，能够把万象求合理汇出大海。
Just like what Huaicun is doing, merging everyone together and joining the same prayer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I believe that's why we are all gathered here today with love and hope to have more ability to change the world and the future generation. And I believe a lot of our speakers today touched based on how the society is shaped by stories and ideas. It shapes how we think and how we talk. But how do they influence the way we live? Matt, I would like to hear from you. How do you see this? How does stories and ideas can influence the way we live now?
Thank you, Sam. 首先我们会上非常感谢Huaicun朋友Xuemo非常喜欢你的智慧爱和是你说话非常有力量厉害good to see you and all my new friends great to hear everyone. Yeah, I brought a copy of my book. I just wanted to read. So a few years ago, I wrote a book, and basically every day there's a film quote. 每天有一部电影的对话, and then I write my thoughts about it. And there's a particular film called A Beautiful Mind with Russell Crowe, and he's playing. It's a true story. He's playing somebody called John Nash, a scientist, a mathematician. And this is the quote that he says. This is a big spoiler, by the way, so I apologize if you haven't seen the film. He says at the end, "I've always believed in numbers and the equations and logics that lead to reason. And I have made the most important discovery of my career, the most important discovery of my life. It is only in the mysterious equations of love that any logic or reasons can be found." And just, watching that film and feeling the energy as he says that, and he's obviously talking about the people that matter to him. I could read so many great film quotes that I included in this book. Just a quick, another one is from a film called Interstellar, Christopher Nolan film about space and humanity, and we have to save our planet and our world. And when Anne Hathaway's character talks about love, and Xuemo, you said it today, and Huaicun, and lots of other people, that really is the secret power. That is the secret power that makes everything possible. So for myself, as an artist, as someone who writes, I don't consider myself an artist or a writer, certainly not in such illustrious company as many people who are true artists here today. But it's all about how do I want to impact the world and how do I want to make this world a better place. It really is that simple. And I think that every form of artwork, be that painting, writing, sculpture, film, anything, is just an attempt to bring a little bit more light into the world. So as a personal coach, as a writer, that's what I aim to do. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Matt. I'm glad you touched on the movie side. I haven't watched that movie, Beautiful Mind, but I do love Interstellar movie. I wish I could have watched it, but so I can watch it again. Yes, story and movie can always give languages and experience otherwise difficult to express. And sometimes the expression itself becomes a way of healing. So, Ms. Lihan, from the perspective of education, how can education help young people to discover hope and emotional strength? What's your thoughts on this?
Firstly, thank you, Huaicun and Xixia, for inviting me to this wonderful event to meet Xuemo Culture and all the distinguished guests. Today's main theme is love, and now we're all enjoying the light of love. Xuemo Culture just mentioned Buddhism and Taoism and the arts can help people escape from the fear of disease. And from a teacher's perspective, I'm going to talk about how love and education can help students the fear they face. As a teacher, I believe that love and education are like a lighthouse in the darkness together. They support us through the most difficulty times. Working on both an emotional and a rational level, love provides a sense of security and belonging. When students are in distress, facing academic setbacks, family issues, or self-doubts, their greatest need is a safe haven. A teacher's unconditional attention, listening, and acceptance convey a powerful message. You matter. You are not alone. And this emotional connection is the first line of defense against storms within. Education grants the ability to interpret the world. Difficulty often stems from a fear of an unknown and misunderstanding failure. The value of education lies in guiding students to understand their struggles with the questions like how what was the failure due to a flawed strategy or a lack of effort, or how did historical figures navigate their darkest moments? When students can rationally analyze their predicament, their fear shrinks, replaced by a mindset focused on problem solving. Love ignites inner drive. A teacher's trust and encouragement are often the fuel for students' perseverance. Children who are believed in are more willing to persevere and try again. A knowing glance, a simple "I believe in you" can awaken the courage within, motivating them to persevere, so as not to let that love down. Education provides the tools to overcome adversity. Love offers warmth, but education provides the methods, whether it's literacy, numeracy, logical thinking, or techniques for psychological adjustment. All these concrete skills empower students to truly change their circumstances. When they can use their knowledge to solve real problems, a sense of achievement gradually dissolves their feeling of powerlessness. As teachers, we use love to steady their hearts and education to illuminate their path. With both working in tandem, difficulties are no longer insurmountable mountains, but rather experiences that can be understood and conquered. And in the process of loving them, we ourselves draw wisdom and strength to navigate all the hardship of life. Thank you.
Thank you. Education shapes not only knowledge but also how we understand ourselves about the world. And art helps people to rediscover their hope and emotional strength during difficult times. It is through art sometimes is how these understandings become deeply felt from the people who compose the art to the rest of the world. Huaicun, how has love shaped your artistic journey and your understanding of life?
Okay, just don't ask your mom. For me, the love of life often comes from very simple moments. Every morning I wake up, when I look outside, I have to say, really truly say hello to trees, flowers, and my animals. And who is from my neighbors, maybe horse rider and on the way, say hello, do this way. I think this really looks like in my life. Before I told many friends, in my families happened a very funny stories. When I'm younger, little girl, so I think it's 6 years old. So because of every day when I'm from school, go home on the way, I speak to everything for animal and grass and like a caterpillar, everything. And then one day, my mother very worried about me. She asked my father, say, can you send to my daughter to go to hospital? My father asked her why. And my mother said, she looks like a stranger, maybe sick, maybe she's brave, something happened, like no good, because she speaks to herself and not speak to everybody, every people. And my father said, oh, don't worry about this one, because I do same things like my daughter. This one I think is like before I say I'm really liking girls, so because my family, my parents protected me, my everything. Now this is my granddaughter coming, and my granddaughter Freya sing me exactly same 100%. She say hello to everyone, everybody, and I remember one day we walk on the way. She saw the little tiny caterpillar. I said, be careful, you walk and you read carefully. And the Freya said, yes, I know. And when we go home, she said, Nini, I have to say goodbye to tiny caterpillar. Yeah, that's I think it's also artworks, love for family is very important.
And that's how the love within our family is going to different generations. My little one Freya, she's always so kind to everything around her. She always say good morning to the trees. She say good morning to the animals, and she even say